welcome. You know, as far as efforts are concerned, I think it's a matter of joint effort, not just from the board and the representatives of this organization, but certainly founding members such as Dr. Durga Agrawal, who's here with us tonight. Thank you for your support. Our director at large, Prabhas Sarjan, and of course, board members and members, it is your strength that makes us alive and makes us bring these programs to you. It is indeed an honor to welcome you all tonight to the Healthcare Initiative. You know, with an expected GDP rate of almost 8%, healthcare has certainly emerged as one of the largest and the most progressive service sectors in India. It is anticipated that the healthcare industry in India will reach almost $280 billion by 2020. Today, the pharmaceutical market in India is on the rise. You look at the US drug companies here, it seems that on an average it costs approximately $1 billion for any drug or major treatment to reach the market. Developers of these drugs are certainly looking at viable options and opportunities, including diagnostic facilities and clinical trial markets across the globe. If you look at the current applications in terms of clinical trials that are pending, these permits include applications from major pharmaceutical companies such as Pfizer and Sun Pharma. It shows that India is certainly being recognized as a place for new drug research and drug discovery. To add to all of that, the government of India has certainly taken on a keen initiative to establish India as a pharma innovation and a drug research facility. In advancing those goals, they are also trying to propose several special economic zones, and they have already expressed a letter of intent in terms of asking global consultants to provide technical and financial bids to serve for those global remedies. When you consider all of this, certainly the opportunity for investment and human enterprise certainly exists in India in the healthcare industry. Today, almost 1/10 of the private funding which comes into the country is dedicated towards the healthcare sector. Corporate India and international institutions, including individuals like you and I, we are all trying to find these investment and business opportunities. But in addition to that, what is most important is that India also provides opportunities for several international collaborations, which certainly would provide the framework for a global exchange of faculty, trainees, and certainly scientific data. To give an example, the ongoing commitment between MD Anderson Center here in Houston and certainly Tata Memorial in Bombay, the recent MOU signed between Baylor College of Medicine and Max India, those are examples of the future of medicine. It is indeed my distinct honor to welcome you all here tonight on behalf of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, because we at the Chamber believe that major opportunities for investment and business potential exists in India in diverse sectors, including establishments of hospitals, primary care sectors, pharma research, diagnostic labs, venture fundings both in the private and the public domain. So on behalf of the Chamber, to all of you who are either financially invested in the healthcare industry or those who are very committed to looking at international collaborations between institutions, it is our honor to have you here tonight. As you will hear from our distinguished panel, it is innovation, investment, and these global collaborations which will perhaps define the future of medicine worldwide. So again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's program. Thank you.
As you heard, I run the Global Academic Programs Department at our center. You know, cancer is one of the big challenges of our times. And at MD Anderson, we've realized that in order to conquer this important disease, we really need to link arms and pool resources across the globe. And in recognition of this need to do this, Dr. Mendelson, our president, formed the Center for Global Oncology at MD Anderson about 5 years ago. And we have 3 departments in that. Department that handles business connections, that handles the clinical relationships, and mine that handles the academic interactions. And together we engage with partners all across the globe, including in India, as you've heard, with Tata Memorial in Mumbai. India presents tremendous opportunities. Not only is there a strong and growing economy there, but there is a long tradition of innovation, as well as a tradition of thinking differently about disease from our more traditional, for America at least, Western medicine approach. So we see great opportunities there, and we are busy building more relationships there. We're going to be evaluating opportunities there strategically in the next few months, and we'll be traveling there with a large group in December to look at opportunities. As we build these relationships in my group, one of the first things we look for are faculty champions at MD Anderson. Because in order to make the relationships work, we need engaged faculty who will provide the content and the collaborative impetus and the brilliance that we need in these relationships. And so we were very happy when 2 years ago we were able to recruit Dr. Logan Mishra, who is one of our very strong champions in our consideration for relationships in India. Dr. Mishra has a very interesting background. She has roots both in India and in Africa, and she's trained in England, so she went to the University of London, where she did her MD, and then clinical internship training at the Royal Free, and before coming to the United States in the mid-80s to complete her training in the Mount Sinai Medical Center in New York, and then moving on to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. She was then on the faculty at Georgetown, where she had a very brilliant career, and ended up as professor and director of digestive diseases before being lured here to sunny Houston in 2009, where she is the chair of our department Department of Gastroenterology, hepatology. See, I'm not a medical man, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm a basic scientist. Hepatology and nutrition, and has brought with her some very strong scientific programs, including a prestigious multi-investigator PO1 grant from the NIH. And in her lab, she studies the molecular basis of gastrointestinal cancers with an emphasis on colon cancer and hepatocellular cancer, and works very broadly with many people in different disciplines at our institution. So she's a real star of our institution and a great leader, and I introduce you to her as our moderator tonight, Dr. Mishra.
Thank you, Oliver, for such a kind and beautiful introduction. I'm not going to keep you long here because there is the meat and the matter. I'd just like to tell you a little brief history of how this panel came to be, because I work in gastrointestinal and hepatocellular cancers. And hepatocellular cancer, liver cancer, the two cancers in the colon, we have a wonderful screening mechanism in this country where we have actually dropped the incidence of colon cancers in the United States thanks to our screening programs. We get 150,000 colon cancers in this country. And in Norway, they haven't even begun this, so we're now reaching out to Norway to build that. So in India, there is none. So we'd love to be building that program. And then you take liver cancer, hepatocellular cancer. This is the third most common cancer in the world, cancer deaths, fifth most common cancer. And it's the most often due to hepatitis B and C, and then alcohol adds to it, as does obesity and diabetes. And diabetes is really common in India. So you can imagine the high rise in incidence of hepatocellular cancer. Well, just out of information, Texas is the state in which hepatocellular cancer is rising at the most alarming incidence in the United States, and so much so that in the US we believe that there's going to be an $8 to $10 billion burden of health and cost. So we've been aggressively trying to work at this problem, faced with this situation because of our baby boomers who've been, sort of shooting various things and then drinking alcohol. We have this high-risk population of hepatocellular cancers, and it's very different from the Indian hepatocellular cancers. In the end, you all have cancers, and then we'd like to target this. We'd like to develop new drugs, new therapeutics. We'd love to do that with Indian pharma. And then, how did this program occur? Well, I'll introduce you to all three of these members. They're all from Indian medical schools and Indian hospitals, and they've really worked in these cancers and liver diseases. And they really think about how we could really reach out and make a change. And as George Bernard Shaw said, no progress. Progress is impossible without change. And unless we can change people's minds and how they work, we'll never be able to make any changes. So without any much ado, I'll take you to our first speaker, who is Shiv Sareen, Dr. Shiv Sareen. And Shiv is the director of the Indian Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences in New Delhi. And he's also been the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Medical Council of India. And I looked up the Medical Council of India in Wikipedia, and it's really a very powerful and prestigious council that really determines key regulatory affairs for Indian medical schools and hospitals as they move forward. And Epan will perhaps tell you more about that. Shiv and Vibhuti, my husband, were on a car ride, and Vibhuti was able to persuade him about key new changes that had to be made for Indian medical schools, and they were presented. So Shiv, during his tenure as a leading member in Indian medicine, has made phenomenal changes, and I'd love for him to tell you about those and how we could interact. And most of this, I hope we can keep it as a question and answer session. So he's a renowned gastroenterologist, and he was at Yale for most of his hepatology, and he has some really funny stories. I hope he'll be able to tell about that. And he's been able to bring several innovative techniques and treatment protocols into the country and even the world. And in particular, his work has focused on the management of bleeding and liver disease, and particularly hepatitis B and C. And he's classified gastric varices, and the classification is called, of course, Sareen's classification. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Lopa Mishra and the Indian Chamber. It's a great feeling to be back here and to see how disciplined the chamber is. Everyone is on time, very civilized and seated well. This doesn't happen in India. 6:30 means, you can imagine. I was actually wondering whether there will be people enough at 6:30, but there are. And Alwalia Sahib welcomed us in the very beginning, and India today is probably a country which you all had seen maybe in 70s and 80s. But India is so much changing recently that you can't believe it. Even we who live in Delhi can't believe the way it is changing. The children, society, the way the educational system, and also the way the corruption is going away, you can't believe. It's not a corrupt India anymore. So if I give you some good messages, believe me, corruption is going away. What was only one thing which was ailing us? If like investment in health, I think what was bad health of the country was probably corruption, which is going on. So you all would be very happy to feel that we are now a healthy society. When I read the title, I thought this must have been written by a businessman. Investment opportunities. We guys don't understand investment. We only have attachments, and we don't know investments. I'll give you my random thoughts on investment. Say for example, I was living in America and I was asked investment, I must buy this property. When I came, Lopa told me, from here to 1 mile is all MD Anderson property. Is that correct? So MD Anderson, that's investment. That's a huge investment, rich. But what in our mind is investment, and what the Indian Chamber can do are 3 things or 4 things. One is get attached to India like we are attached still to you. Attached means you have seen what India would see 20 years from now. So you have those people. I can see some of the best people. I saw Ravi. I, of course, know Dr. Lopa Mishra and Vibhuti. The brains and the way you have grown. And Ravi was telling me we would like Indians to go back to India and teach. Healthcare means the excellence will only come when you have a high quality teacher. The medical colleges are depleted of teachers. Can you believe that we need 26,000 new teachers today? Where are the teachers? Today in India, we have 8 lakh registered doctors. And how many do we need to have 1:1,000 population? If we open 100 colleges per year, even then by 2030, we cannot cover the requirement of doctors in India. And we have the largest number of medical colleges in the world. India has 314. In my short tenure, we opened 19 colleges in 1 year. And this year there were 182 applications. Some of people got faith in us that we will allow them, which was not correct. So people wanted increase in seats. So 182 new applications. We changed the scenario by saying, you know, 1 seat for a postgraduate MD degree. 200 people appear, there is 1 seat. Why was America smarter than us? America had 16,000 undergraduate seats, 24,000 postgraduate seats. So every American will get a post-graduation and 8,000 Indians can come or Pakistanis. How smart was America? So when I got the statistics on the 3rd day of my journey, I said, this is not fair. So we will make undergraduate and postgraduate seats equally. UG is equal to PG. But how do you make it? Where are the teachers? Where are the colleges? So we had to have innovations, and we did a lot of them. But if everything goes well, and that's on the website, and that was covered by Lancet, that if all that happens by 2017, we will have enough. So what did we do? We had senior people, 65 plus, we all allowed them to be teachers for 5 more years. People thought after 65 you can't be a teacher. India is the first country in whole of Asian region which has today teachers who can teach in medical colleges till 70. While our life expectancy is still 67. But I think obviously